Big machines need to be transported to job sites. Loaders, bulldozers, excavators, scrapers all require special loading and handling. If it is your job to get them to the work site safely, you need to take extra precautions. Each and every step of the way can be hazardous if you don't follow the safety rules. Nothing will spoil your day faster than to have something like a Cat D9 falling off the back of a trailer. The first step in any move is to get the equipment loaded on the truck. It may seem pretty easy to do, but when you're moving something like a 25-ton crane, it has to be done very carefully. To begin with, visibility on those big machines is limited. The driver relies on people on the ground to help guide his every move. You need to be lined up right, so taking the process slowly is paramount to being safe. If these machines tip over, nothing is going to stop it. As a big piece of equipment starts up the ramp, its center of gravity is going to shift. This is probably the most dangerous part of the process. If it gets too far out of line, the equipment is going to fall off the trailer and someone could get hurt or even killed. That's why it's important to make the loading area as level as possible. It pays to take a few extra minutes to get everything in the right position before you start. When you have a wide load on a narrow trailer, most of the weight will be hanging over the edge. It doesn't take much of a mistake to cause the equipment to tip over. Once you get the equipment on the truck, you have to make sure it will stay there. Many states have rules on how equipment needs to be secured for travel on public highways. Chain laws are there to protect everyone in the transporting process, such as workers, drivers, and the general public. For companies transporting these huge machines, they should be looked at as only minimum requirements. If your company has stricter rules, make sure you follow them to a T. You really have two things to look out for when you are tying down. First, the load needs to be secure. Make sure those chains and straps are pulled tight. There's nothing more alarming for a driver than to be going down the road and feel the load start bouncing around. You also need to be sure you don't damage the equipment. Stick a tie down through the wrong hole and you could be asking for trouble. Once the load starts down the highway, a whole new set of potential problems can come into play. A load that's too high, too heavy, or too wide can be an accident waiting to happen. One of the first steps in planning a move is to lay out the route. Look for possible hazards. Before one can be issued, someone needs to check the route and make sure the equipment can be safely moved from point A to point B. You don't want to find an overpass that's shorter than the height of your load, so be sure to measure everything before even attempting to drive under the structure. You also need to watch out for narrow roads. Some bridges can only handle a few tons, so don't drive over it if you have too much weight. Don't try to save time by taking back roads and shortcuts. When driving on the road, be a defensive driver. Unfortunately, many motorists don't know or don't care about the challenges you face with your heavy load. Keep your speeds down, be ready to brake, and keep your eyes on other drivers as they can be pretty unpredictable. Proper signs on your rig warning drivers is important. Also, escort vehicles is a good way to help make sure the transportation is safe. Don't follow your escort too closely, as they are looking out for unexpected hazards and may have to slow down or stop quickly. Unloading can be even more dangerous than loading. First, as with loading, the truck needs to be on level ground. Take a few minutes to check out the surrounding area. Make sure all the tie downs are undone before you try to move the machine. That seems obvious, but there are plenty of stories of people forgetting to get the machine free before putting it into motion. Be careful taking off the chains and straps, as they can be under a lot of pressure. They could snap back and hit you. A spotter makes sure the tracks are lined up with the ramps. Before even moving, everything needs to be checked very carefully. Remember, when you are very close to the machine, the driver may not be able to see you, so keep as far back as you can. Always wear safety gear, like a hard hat, safety vest, steel-toe shoes. If you are the driver, be sure the spotter is safely out of the way Make sure you both understand the signals. Everyone on the job site needs to be aware that the unloading or loading of heavy equipment is taking place. If you aren't involved in the loading or unloading of the equipment, stay out of the way. When the elements are not ideal, like rain and snow, make sure you prepare the equipment before moving by cleaning muddy ramps or chipping away ice. Most important of all, stay alert and be aware of rules and regulations.